I'd like to welcome you all to WAYRA. My name is Ian Lucey, I'm with the Lucey Fund. We are a Ryanair flight away from London, which is one of the financial centres of the world. The amount of investment that's going into tech companies over there is absolutely growing at a phenomenal rate of knots, and we think it's really important that the community here can understand how to access that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to call in Paul Jenkinson. Paul's here. Yeah, Paul, thank you very much for coming over. So what's the difference between SEIS and EIS? Explain that.
So, well, for investors, the main thing is with SEIS, it's more generous, slightly more generous. For companies, it's a bit more significant. In that EIS has sort of wider scope. SEIS is meant for startups, so there are quite a lot of additional rules. Must have less than 25 employees, which is fairly easy. You're going to have less than £200,000 of gross assets, so that's when you add in your debtors and stock and cash, again, which is fairly easy for most startups. The other rules are around you have to have a UK establishment. So, and this is a lot of companies kind of get caught up on this. So we've got two investments through SEIS, two Dublin-based companies, and they've got their UK establishment in Belfast. Which is now genuinely are based up there, but it's hard to get through HMRC being based in Belfast, because HMRC, the tax authorities in the UK, look at that and say, well, you know, Dublin's a bigger economy than Belfast. Why would you go to Belfast? So it's quite hard to justify why you're there. It's a lot easier if you've set up in London, because it kind of works in your favour, because the HMRC says, oh, of course, yeah, you're bound to go to London rather than Dublin. So it works in your favour sometimes, but it has to be a proper UK establishment. It can't be a post box. You know, it has to be genuinely why you want to be there.
Talk to us about qualifying then. Is it difficult to, what do you need to do to say you're an SEIS company? Imagine we're all British companies now for the moment. Or right?
Yeah. So if you're a British company, you would typically you would do what's called a pre-clearance. So you basically send a form into HMRC with a bunch of documents attached to that form. So things like your business plan, your forecasts, articles of association, shareholder agreement, and a few other things. You don't technically have to get pre-clearance, but any investor coming in would want to make sure that when they invest, they are going to get tax relief. So they would expect it. So given it doesn't cost you anything, if you do it yourself, it's definitely worth doing. Most investors will expect you to have it. And then once you have pre-clearance and an investor invests, then you apply again to HMRC for what are called EIS 3 certificates or SEIS 3 certificates, which is where you apply on behalf of your investor for the tax certificates that they can then send in with they need for their tax return.
Okay. Talk to us about the Jenkinson process then. What's the start to finish length of time on one of your deals?
It varies. I mean, the quickest we've done was 3 weeks, but that was exceptional. So the average is about 6 weeks. So, and it really depends on how well prepared the startup is for the investment process. So our process is, you send in a plan, we look at it, if we like it, we'll get you in to meet us. We'll go do a first sort of review meeting. If that looks good, then we'll take you through to the next stage, which will be what's called the Jenkinson Review Panel, which is typically 3 or 4 of the Jenkinson partners.
And that's the startup pitches to them, is it?
Yes, yeah, and that second meeting is usually about an hour and a half. So and we go into quite a bit of depth, typically into the financials and into the sales and marketing plan. And because one of the biggest things we've seen, the experience we've had of the companies we've invested in so far, my sort of experience over the last 20 years is sales and marketing always take longer than you think.